Hello, we're going to try something a little different because I really need to make sure that you're getting these lessons. So, we'll decide how we'll work Zoom or however we want to do that, but I need to make sure that you are able to hear me and that although I may not be getting feedback from you right now, I really don't do that in Zoom anyway because there's such a delay. So, let's just give this a shot for a second, okay? Trying as we go. But we're going to move into our math lesson. So, you need to have your math book page out, and it's page 277. Now, these are videos, so the video you can pause, you can stop, you can go back. So if you feel like I'm moving quickly, like I tend to do, and in the classroom, that kind of works for us. On here, you may need to pause the video and maybe just think for a second, or you need a second to write your answers, or you need a second. That's the benefit to having a video. You can go, oh, pause, Miss Brandon. Okay? All right, so let's look together on page 277. Okay, so yesterday, or actually it's today, but this is another lesson. When we met last, we were adding one more, one less, which means we were changing the value of the digit in the ones house, the ones place value. Okay, this lesson wants us to change the value as 10 more or 10 less. So now we're really looking at that number in the middle, okay? Because we're working with 100s, numbers in the 100s. So we're working with that middle 10 house, okay? Now, number 1 says, write the number represented. Use the clues to picture and write the numbers. I'm sorry if you hear the snoring. I will show you what it is. Wow. It is that boy. Can't even know if it's showing him well. Right there. He's tired and he snores all day long. Okay. So if that's what you hear, that's what it is. Okay, so we need to write the number represented. So the first thing we're going to do is come up with our number. Okay. Well, we have one big green cube on number 1 that represents the 100, 2 tens, and 1 1. So, our first number is 121. We have one green large cube that represents 100, 2 tens, and 1 1. We know how to do that, right? Okay, now, when we have 121 and we need our center number now, okay, we are going to be changing our tens place value, okay? So, we are going to look at our pictures. Uh-oh, they changed it. They added a 10. So we can look up at our picture that they gave us and we see, oh, I have still 100. That didn't change. But now I have 1, 2, 3 tens. Okay? And my ones didn't change. I still just have 1, 1. Okay? Now, the tens place value is here. We know that. So when we add a 10, we just went up 1 10 from a 2 tens to 3 tens. Okay? Now notice the 100's value stayed the same, both in the picture and in the number, and so did the ones value. Stayed the same. Okay. Next, I notice we still have 100, except this time we have 4 tens. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what it looks like in your picture on your paper as well. Okay, and then we still have 1, 1. That did not change. So we only changed the 10 place value. We added a 10 as we went each time. Do you notice? So this 121 is 10 less than 131. 141 is 10 more than 131. Does that make sense? Yours should look like this. Okay, let's keep going. The next one we are working with is I have to get it written down for you because this board does not hold a lot of things at once, right? It's not like my big board at school. Had all the room in the world on that one, don't we? Okay, so we're looking in to get our numbers, and we're talking about changing the 10 place value. This one is going to be 10 more. This is going to be our original number, and this is going to be, I'm sorry, I did that backwards, 10 less, and this one is going to be 10 more, okay? Now, let's do it together. Okay, I have 100. I have 0 tens. Remember, the 0 has to be there. And I have 4 ones. 104 is my number. Okay? Now, let's keep going on the second one here. I have 100. Except this time I do have a 10. Notice we added a 110 from 0. So 0 plus 1 is a 1, right? And I still have 4 ones. I didn't change that. That didn't change. Okay, and now on my third option here, I still have 100. That did not change. Except this time I have 2 tens, notice, and I still have 4 ones. Notice the only place value that changed this time was the tens place value because we are doing 10 more, 10 less. Okay, so 104 is 10 less than 114. 124 is 10 more than 114. Does that make sense? Okay, this way you can also review this video if you need a little extra help. Okay, now at the next one it says complete the subtraction sentence. 100 minus 10 equals, okay, let's think about that. Those are decade numbers. Remember when we're counting 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and then we get to 90, 100. So if I count back 10 from 100, I'm going to be at 90. And if I keep counting backwards by tens, that would be 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, and so on. Okay, now let's flip the page and let's go to page 278, so the back side, like we always do. Use the clues to picture and write the number. Okay, so our original number in the center is 102. All right. So, we need to know what is, oh, we're only adding 1 more and 1 less now like we did on the last lesson. Okay, so the best thing to do, 1 less and 1 more, is to decide which place value that you'll be working in. Okay, so when we're talking about 1's house, we're only going to be changing this place value. Okay? So, over here, we have 1 less. So, when I look at the number in the picture, I have 100. I have 0 tens, and I have 1 1. That is 1 less. Okay? All they did is this is the same number, except they took a 1 away. Do you see? So now it's 1 100, 0 tens, 1 1. Now we need 1 more over here. Excuse my backwards writing when I'm trying to show you. Over here we have 1 100 still. We still have 0 tens, but now we have 3 ones. So 101 is 1 less than 102. 103 is 1 more than 102. Make sense? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so let me draw my number. I like it much better when I have it on the board, but it's okay. Not a big deal. We're making it happen. Okay, and all right, here we go together. Our original number in the center is 125. I can tell that because there's 1 100, 2 10s, 5 ones. Okay? Now this time I am doing 10 less and 10 more. That's what the directions say. Okay? When you look at the problem, you really have to recognize if it wants you to say 1 less or 10 less. Okay? That's part of directions. I'm going to underline, or rather, because I already have a thing there, I'm going to point to the number 2 because that is my 10 place value. That's what's going to change. Okay? So I'm over here, I notice, oh, I still have 1 100. Okay, except now I only have 1 10 and I still have 5 ones. So 115 is 10 less than 125. Okay? And then let's keep going for 10 more. I still have 1 100, except now I have 3 10s and I still have 5 ones. So 135 is 10 more than 125. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's keep moving. 1 more, 1 less, 10 more, 10 less. That's where we're at, okay? The directions say, underline the digit in the tens place. Use the clues to write the numbers. Okay, so our number is 140 in the center. Okay, so I'm going to underline the tens place. Okay, so now I just need to take away a 10. 4 minus 1 is 3. I still have the same 100s, except now I took away a 10, so I only have 3, and I still have 0 ones. For 10 more, I take that 10 place value and I add a 10. So now I have still 1 100, except now I have 5 10s and I still have 0 ones. Okay. You could have paused that if you need it or go back if you need it again. Okay, but let's keep going. All right, 10 less, 10 more. Always make sure you recognize if you're doing 1 more or 10 more because that's a huge difference in the answer difference, okay? You either get it correct or you get it incorrect based on if you really looked at the directions, okay? So I'm gonna underline the 10 place value in number 117. So we're on number 4 now. And now it wants me to do 10 less and 10 more. So I'm only really going to be working with that center number because it's in the tens house right here. Okay? Now, 1 plus 1 more. Okay, I'm going to keep the 100 place, but I took the 1 from the tens place and I added a 10 to it. So now I have 2 10s. And I still have 7 ones. The ones place I'm not changing or the sevens place. The only time I do that is when I have to regroup or make a 10, okay? Remember that? Or another 100, which we're not at. Okay, over here I need to, oh, I am so sorry. I made an incorrect. That was one less. I'm so sorry. Let's change that, okay? That was a mistake. I need to take away 1 and I will have 0. Okay, so that answer is 107. Sorry about that. I was ahead of myself. Over here, that's where we take that 1 and we add another 10. So now my hundreds stay the same. Now my 10s change to a 2 and my 1s stay the same. So 107 is 10 less than 117. 127 is 10 more than 117. Okay. Now we are going to the time to review at the bottom says combine the add-ins to make 5 or 10. We just did this a few days ago, so you know how to do that. But I'll do an example for you, and then you do the other 2 alone. Okay? So all right, here we go. 4 plus 2 plus 3. I combined 2 and 3 to make 5. And now all I have to do is do 5 plus 4, and I come up with the answer 9. Okay? So you're combining 2 add-ins, and you're either making them 5 or 10. Okay? And you'll move from there. Now, let's look at our Bible verse. Okay, I'm going to be moving through, so this is your lesson for the day so that you can make sure that you can hear me. Okay? Your Bible verse is due tomorrow. John 6:47. I tell you the truth, he who believes has everlasting life. He who believes in God has everlasting life. You have Jesus in your heart. Your soul lives in heaven for everlasting time. Endless. Forever. Always. Okay? So make sure that you know your Bible verse for tomorrow. You do have a new spelling list Thursday, as always. It's a review list. Okay, it is list 27, and I'll put it on Spelling City for us either Thursday or Friday, where you can go in Spelling City and play some games with them. That's fun. That's something we didn't really do much of. So it's really fun to go in and have those different games and to be able to use our words. Okay, they're review words. So you have had them all on a list before. Says, are, your, from, I'm, there, because, where, mother, been, don't, were, any, some, said. 2 words I want to look at really quick though before we move on. I'm and don't. Remember, these words are called contractions. These apostrophes up here are there because they take the place of letters. Okay? So I know probably you remember this, but let's just a refresher, stands for I am, and don't stands for do not. Contractions are just shorter ways, remember, of writing words. The apostrophe, this punctuation, just takes the place of some letters. Okay? My backwards writing could get better. Maybe it will. Okay, now I want to really quick before we finish up, because you do have your phonics test to do today, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to work on chart 12, so we're going to say it together, okay? 1, 2, 3. A says in asleep. A-L says all and also. B-E says be and because. E-N says and enjoy. U-N says and unbutton. W-R says roar and wrinkle. O-U-L-D says ud and could. A-I-R says air and hair. U says and push. O-U-G-H says and enough. O-U says in country. A-R-R says air and carry. I-R-E says ire and fire. Okay, I would like for you to do that a couple of times, even if you need to rewind, go back a little bit and do that a couple of times, okay? Now, last thing I want to do is, because you do have your phonics test today, so I wanted to make this shorter, but I want to squeeze it in too. That makes me crazy. Okay, let's go to science page 167, and we're just going to read through the Tech Connect really quick together, okay? Science is a lot about discussion and a lot about interaction, which we don't really have a lot of that, or we're not able to do a lot of that, but we can still talk about it or listen, and then maybe just come up with some ideas, or if you have questions, you can always, we could probably use our Zoom time for some more of that, okay? If we can get it, the signals. All right, on page 167 in science, it says doctors help people take care of their heart. An electrocardiogram checks the heart. That's the machine, right? A healthy heart reading looks like this. Okay, so do you see the first graph, and do you see how the heart, they're able to track the beats? And that's what the machine does, the electrocardiogram. It's a big word, electrocardiogram. Oh my goodness, 9 syllables. Okay, so it is checking the heart rate, right? How quickly your heart beats. Remember we talked about when you're resting, your heart is probably more relaxed. It's not beating as fast. When you're outside playing, running around the playground, then it's beating much faster, right? So this probably looks like just a normal rate of a heart rate when you're just maybe up throughout your day. An unhealthy heart reading can look like this. Oh, do you see how there's not much activity? There's not much of a jump in the little graph. So it's showing that the heart is maybe resting too much. Maybe needs much more activity. We have to have our bodies moving and having activity to keep our heart healthy. It's a muscle. Remember, it's a muscle. If we want our muscles to be strong and healthy, we eat the right foods, we exercise, and you would be surprised, playing outside is a lot of exercise. Riding your bike, the stuff you enjoy and you love, flying kites, playing with your friends, those kind of things are a lot of exercise, okay? So we notice that the healthy heart looks like it has a lot more jumps. It has a lot more activity going on. The unhealthy heart seems to be resting too much, a little too lazy, right? Doctors can do heart surgery. This verse is a promise for any of God's children who have surgery. And honestly, I would read that verse to you. Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. I love that. Joshua 1:9b. He's definitely with us right now in every second of our living existence, right? I almost couldn't see that. It's so tiny in my book. So it's super important to know that different people sometimes they have to get their heart healthy again, okay? And sometimes surgeries can happen, and God bless doctors to know what to do to help people when they have those kind of problems. So thankfully, that's a huge blessing that we have, that hearts can sometimes, that are not healthy, can kind of become a little more healthy again. So that's nice, okay? All right, I'm going to stop here because you do have your phonics test to go take. But maybe this will help a little bit better, and I will see you soon. Love you.